Vasilis.
Hi, Zori. How are you?
Hello. Good. You?
The same. Good.
Great.
How things are going in our neighborhood?
I don't know. I think summer is finally coming. Today was the first day that started with warmth from the morning and continues, in the same way. So I really hope that finally summer is here.
So, Antonio.
Hi, Antonio.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine. What about you?
Fine.
We were discussing neighboring countries, so now considering that you're not a neighbor, what is happening in countries that are not our neighbors?
They are our neighbors, so they are neighbors in total. We are neighbors.
You are, yeah.
So, any news, Antonio?
No news.
Good news.
News. Yes.
No news, good news.
What about you? Any news?
We finally have summer, I think. At least this is a change from this morning. Yeah, it started warm and nice at last.
In Italy, it has been like that in the last week.
Lucky you.
Not so lucky if I have to work, but anyway, at least last weekend we went to the sea.
What about breaks? Have you planned already?
Yes.
Okay, so something to look forward to.
Absolutely. Next week I will have the first break, only for 2 days, but I will go to my home region.
Down south?
Finally, we will bring the little one because nobody knows there yet.
Yeah.
So my mom is really looking forward to meet her second. It's like bringing the news to Puglia, and she really looks forward to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be big.
Yeah, absolutely. Then I will come back and I will be alone for 1 week. Because in the meantime, we are planning we are moving to our new apartment. So there is a lot of stuff to be prepared. And in the first week of August, we will move to the new apartment.
Okay, so it's going to be a busy summer for you.
Absolutely, but it's okay.
Yeah.
And you? Did you already plan your breaks?
I think so, yeah, to some extent. At least I planned all the trips that should happen during the summer, and the breaks will be happening in between. But the first thing, if I can call it a break, is going to Romania.
Okay.
At the end of June for more than a week, and we will go around some places in the Carpathian Mountains.
Good.
And then have a training, so it's going to be combined, work and travel, like you do in the United States. Work and travel. Yeah.
Sorry to left you, but my wife had some problems with the connection, so maybe we will watch it together from my laptop.
It's okay. And I will ask our participants if they want translation. Maybe I can write in the chat if anybody feels uncertain about something. We'll see.
Yeah.
Hello.
Is the principal of one of the schools, the third primary school of Nea Moudania. But I don't know. I think they have some problems. I don't know why. Maybe because they have a special network. Let's say during quarantine, they use the special network
Yeah.
them, for their lessons and so on. So I don't know if they can connect, they can be connected in our network and otherwise, but okay, he's already connected. Good this.
Hopefully. Yeah. Antonio, what is going to be the agenda? Did you agree with Vitor who will go first? And you muted.
It will be me for the first half an hour,
Okay.
and then it will be Victor
Okay.
for other 30 minutes, and then we will think about sharing participants in groups with the support of Zori and identifying some possible module to be translated according to the Golden Ratio teaching methodologies.
If there is
Okay. Will the people be divided according to national principle?
We will see.
Okay.
On the basis of the interest, I don't know. We were thinking about having just 2 different rooms. In each room, there should be a moderator who can be me for the flipped classroom methodology and Victor for the other one.
Okay.
And then together we can think about how to practically use the methodologies we will have explained for developing some lessons or some modules.
Sorry, Antonio.
Okay. Great.
People, because I didn't hear you, people will divide it according to their preference, I mean, to their topic.
Yeah, I would
Okay,
do like this, but let's see how it works and
okay.
if there are strong preferences for one methodology or the other one.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Good to see you all.
It's too hot in Greece. Maybe 30 now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Too cold in Romania, raining.
Oh, come on. Come quickly to Greece.
I'll be there as soon as I can.
Zori, do you know something? Do you have any news about the problem we had in the borders? Because there was a problem with the schedule in the borders between Greece and Bulgaria. Borders were not open all the day. I read something like this. I'm not sure, but I think there is a problem.
Is it related in any way to the strike that was happening in Greece?
No, because of COVID, not because of strike.
It's possible. It's possible. I don't know. I've been stuck in Sofia, so unfortunately.
But our minister said that they will find a solution because we need the tourists.
Yeah.
We'll make sure to fly, just to be on the safe side.
Okay, good to see all the people who have already logged in. Maybe we can give just a couple more minutes for the others to join. You can see that this meeting is being recorded so that we can share it with anyone who wasn't present. Hope this will be okay for everybody.
Hello.
It's not going to be a publicly shared video, just shared between the people in the group. Hello, Susanna. Do we know if Vitor will be a bit late or no? Okay, so we wait for Vitor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good to see you. Good.
Let me write my name.
And you? Yeah.
Let me introduce Angelos Patsias. He is the principal of the Big Bang School in Chalkidiki, in the border Chalkidiki Thessaloniki.
Hello.
Great name of a school.
Thank you. Βασίλη, όλα καλά.
Όλα μια χαρά.
Your glasses are very modern and fashionable and
I don't think that all the people are in the classroom now. Or are you speaking for this class?
yes, yes.
I'm not sure if in Bulgaria we have some exams today. Yeah, we do. Okay. Yeah. So this is an explanation why we need a recording of this meeting, because it's not easy to join these prefix dates in this time. And we do appreciate very much everyone who managed to be with us today.
In fact, it's a miracle I can be here.
It is. It is. I know. Okay. Well, then I suppose that Victor will be joining in a few minutes, but it would be best if we are not wasting the time of those who are already present. So considering that the allocation of tasks puts Antonio with the flipped classroom at the head of this meeting, maybe I can give him the floor, and we can, there goes Victor as well. Hi, Victor. You have
Hello.
changed the background. We got used to that lovely beach behind you, but good to see you. I was just saying that we will be starting slowly, giving the word to Antonio to begin with the flipped classroom, so that we don't waste any time, any precious time of the people who are here. The meeting is being recorded so that we can send it to everyone else afterwards. I think it's just Gergina from Bulgaria, if I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong. It's just the two of us from Bulgaria. So Gergina, if you need any linguistic support, whatever,
Okay.
just signal, okay? And I guess the same goes for the others. If anyone feels insecure with the English and doesn't understand anything that comes out from Antonio or Victor, please write it in the chat and we will make a pause in order to make things clear. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you once again. And the word goes to Antonio. I will make him co-host in case he wants to share anything.
Absolutely, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, first of all, thanks for coming. I am Antonio Giordano and I'm from Italy. Here I represent Pixel, which is contractual partner within the Golden Ratio Teaching European projects. And again, it's a pleasure that a lot of teachers found some time to participate in this meeting, training. I don't know how to better define it, but anyway, I would like to consider it as a kind of friendly meeting in which we will know each other. And we will, me and Victor, we will be sharing some of the results that until now we reached within the Golden Ratio Teaching projects. In particular, today, the title of this team or working group is Flip Your Future. Because me and Victor, we will be explaining and showing and presenting some modern methodologies in teaching and learning. I will just make a recap of where we are until now, because in the framework of the project, we have been identifying some innovative teaching methodologies. In particular, we are speaking about some methodologies which meet the objectives of the project. One of them, one of the most important, is reducing school dropout and tackle school dropout and increase the interest of students towards lessons. So for this reason, we have been within the partnership, we have been discussing and we have been identifying some modern teaching methodologies, some innovative technologies, and there has been already an internal training amongst us, amongst all the different partners. Some of you already participated in some national trainings in which you were informed about the methodologies that we identified. And then we partners also identified some similarities or connections between some of the methodologies that we have been identifying. For this reason, today there will be me and Victor presenting and explaining some methodologies which have several elements in common and which can be used in synergy, because synergy is the key word for European project, and in particular for this Golden Ratio Teaching European program. In specifically speaking about how this meeting will be managed, there will be me presenting the flipped classroom methodology for something like 30 minutes. And then it will be Victor from Portugal presenting another methodology. And then at the end of these two different presentations, we will think about a practical use of those methodologies within the classroom. So we will be identifying some possible topic subject which could benefit from using those kinds of methodologies. So I would immediately start. I see there are a lot of teachers, most of them are from Greece, if I understand correctly, or just starting from your names, but there are also some participants from Italy, Portugal, and Romania. So it can be considered as a transnational meeting. And that is another aspect which is quite important in European project, the transnational coordination and cooperation between experts, teachers from all over Europe who can together work in order to practically use what has been reached within the project. So the presentation I will have today will be about the flipped classroom methodology, and I will immediately share a PowerPoint presentation. So for some of you, and specifically speaking, maybe I'm just talking to the Italian teachers, but you are familiar already with this presentation, but it is good to refresh the concept that were already explained in national meetings, and it is important for other teachers coming from other European countries to get familiar with the flipped classroom methodology. About the flipped classroom methodology, it is not completely innovative because according to the experience and according to some interviews I've been doing in the last months within the project, some of the teachers I was in contact with are already familiar with this methodology. Maybe for other teachers it can be completely new, but I will try to define some key elements of this methodology. So the meeting will be useful for this. And I don't like speaking in front of an audience, but in this case, I'm speaking to friends and colleagues, so it will be a bit better for me. But what I learned from the experience is that once you introduce a new concept, starting from the definition can be absolutely interesting and can be useful. So I will start with a definition about flipped classroom. If you navigate a bit on internet, you will find several definitions about this kind of methodology. I just try to summarize up all the different results that I found in order to have one organic and comprehensive definition. So the flipped learning or flipped classroom is a pedagogical approach in which direct instruction moves from the group learning space to the individual learning space, and the resulting group space is transformed into a dynamic, interactive learning environment where the educator guides students as they apply concept and engage creatively in the subject matter. So One of the easiest definitions you will find about flipped classroom is schoolwork at home and homework at school. The problem with simplification is that sometimes they do not give the idea, or they simplify too much. But in this case, I would say that this kind of definition, even if a bit simple, can give the idea of what happens within the flipped learning, which is an approach that allows teachers to implement a methodology or various methodologies in the classroom. For this reason, even more than the simple definition of what flipped classroom is, I would move to explaining each single letter composing the flipped methodology. So the letter F stands for flexible environments, because flipped learning allows for a variety of learning modes. Educators often physically rearrange their learning spaces, which is another important innovative methodology. So they rearrange the learning spaces to accommodate a lesson or unit to support either group work or independent study. They create flexible spaces in which students choose when and where they learn. So every time I would try to highlight some of the key elements within the flipped classroom methodology. So the idea of a new kind of approach in which the focus is not represented by the teacher, but the focus is much more on the students, because in this kind of approach, we would say that it is much student-centered than teacher-centered. And educators who flip their classes are flexible in their expectation of student timelines for learning and in their assessments of student learning. So again, a great responsibility is attributed to students. And this is important because students feel even more motivated in approaching the lessons which are usually managed by their teacher. The second letter is the L, which stands from learning culture. I will make reference to traditional teacher-centered model against the flipped methodology. So in the traditional model, the teacher is the primary source of information. By contrast, the flipped learning model shifts instruction to a learner-centered approach again, where in class time is dedicated to exploring topics in greater depth and creating rich learning opportunity. As a result of these, students are actively involved in knowledge. So they are not just the receiver of the information, but they have an important role and are actively involved in the construction of their knowledge, as they participate in and evaluate their learning in a manner that is personally meaningful. The third letter within the flipped methodology is represented by I, which stands for intentional contents. Flipped learning, educators think about how they can use the flipped learning. So if there is an important role which is attributed to students, on the other hand, there is another important responsibility which is attributed and given to teachers, because they have a kind of pivotal approach and role within the construction of the learning, because they have to develop conceptual understandings, and they have to modify the flipped classroom on the basis of the needs of the classroom. So their role and their knowledge about the classroom is even more important than the traditional classroom. Educators use intentional content to maximize classroom time in order to adopt methods of student-centered active learning strategies depending on grade level and subject matter. If there is any kind of doubt, it is not a problem if you interrupt me, because I know that once I start, I speak a lot. So if you have any kind of question and so on, I will try to check the chat, but if there is any questions on, I would ask maybe Zori to let me know, because you know, with the presentation and so on, it is difficult to manage all those stuff. The last letter within FLIP is professional educator. because the role of a professional educator is even more important and even more demanding, which is an important concept, in a flipped classroom than in a traditional one. During class time, educators or mentors, because that is another kind of SWIFT that we can have within the classroom, because teachers are not just teachers, they become educators, they become mentors. They observe their students, providing them with feedback relevant in the moment and assessing their work. Professional educators are reflective in their practice, connect with each other to improve their instruction, accept constructive criticism, and tolerate controlled chaos in the classroom, which is a strange topic for a teacher, speaking about chaos. But if you can't manage your chaos within the classroom, at least you can try to control it and tolerate it and take the best from the chaos, because within a flipped methodology or a flipped classroom, chaos is quite natural, but we can take advantage from that in order to improve the skills of our students. So once we have gone through the meaning of each single letter composing the flipped methodology, I would try to define which is the aim of a flipped classroom, which is an instructional strategy and a type of blended learning which aims to increase student engagement and learning by having students complete readings at their home and work on live problem solving during class time. So this is the main idea. So students having their readings at their home and work on live problem solving during class time. In a traditional classroom, I would say the situation is completely different, because we have the homework at home, and the typical approach in which in the classroom students have to learn and to listen what teachers say. Here the situation is completely the opposite, because the homework is somehow done within the classroom, while the familiarity and the possibility to get to know the contents of the lesson, this happens at home. But there will be some further explanation about this. How the flipped classroom work. This image can be quite useful for you, because before class, students get familiar with new concepts and terminology using digital media. Students may take notes and just write down questions for further discussion. During class, students explore new concepts through learning activities, including peer discussions and interaction with the teacher. And then after class, students continue checking for understanding of the concept through higher order application and evaluation. So in a flipped classroom, students, just to simplify, students watch online lectures, collaborate in online discussions, or carry out research at home while engaging in concept in the classroom with the guidance of a mentor. Here we have the keyword mentor, because again, teacher are mentor just instead of being just teachers, because they guide their students in the concept that they already checked and studied about before entering the classroom. The meaning and the definition of flipped classroom is even more evident if we make this kind of comparison between the traditional classroom and the flipped classroom. Because in the traditional model of classroom instruction, the teacher is typically the central focus of a lesson and the primary disseminator of information during the class period. The teacher responds to questions while students refer directly to the teacher for guidance and feedback. In a classroom with a traditional style of instruction, individual lessons may be focused on an explanation of content using a lecture style. This pattern of teaching also involves giving students the task of reading from a textbook or practicing doing exercise by working on a problem set outside school. The flipped classroom shifts instruction to a learner-centered module in which time in the classroom is used to explore topics in greater depth and create meaningful learning opportunities while students are initially introduced to new topics outside the classroom. So again, the typical structure of a lesson is completely flipped here, the flipped definition. So in the traditional classroom, there is lecture and homework activity. Within the flipped, lecture happens at home, while the classroom activities are much more focused on students' responsibility, on replying to students' questions, in guiding students towards the concept that they already were familiar, thanks to having the lecture at home. This completely changed the Bloom taxonomy, because in traditional learning, lower level of learning, such as remembering and understanding, is happening in class, while students are usually left to work on activities that involve higher level of learning outside of classroom. In the flipped classroom model, learning, again, is flipped. As you can see from this pyramid, students can finish the lower level of cognitive work before class, and when they come to class, they can engage in higher cognitive levels of learning with the guidance of their mentor or teacher. Is it clear until now? Good. So, in a flipped classroom, content delivery may take a variety of forms. Often, video lessons prepared by the teacher or by third parties are used to deliver content, although online collaborative discussions, digital research, and text readings may be used. It has been claimed that the ideal length for the video lesson, for each video lesson, is 8 to 12 minutes. But another frequent simplification about the flipped classroom is that flipped classroom is just asking students to watch online videos and then having the typical homework in the classroom and not outside the classroom. This is real, but it is not completely real, because, okay, video lessons can be an important tool for the in-class activities, but it is not the only one. So it is important to underline that flipped classroom is not a synonym for online videos. When most people hear about the flipped classroom, they think about, okay, that is just watching videos. It is the interaction and the meaningful learning activities that occur during the face-to-face time that is most important than watching the videos. So in-class lessons may include a lot of different activities, again, video lessons, but also active learning, allowing students to apply concept in a class where they can ask peers or instructors for feedback and clarification. Another tool is in-depth laboratory experiments, original document analysis, debate or speech presentation. This is another tool which is quite useful within the flipped methodology. So having students watching online videos in order to get familiar with the contents, and then challenge them to have debate or speech presentations within the classroom. Or even more, current event discussion, peer reviewing. Students can teach each other by explaining concept or working on small problems. Project-based or problem-based learning. Class time can be spent working on problems that can last for the duration of an entire semester, for example. Or collaborative learning. Collaborative learning activities could increase student engagement, enhance student understanding, and promote collective intelligence. So once we ask our students to get prepared about a specific lesson, watching some videos, for example, so that kind of activity is done at home. That is the homework. And then the discussion, the explanation, the replying to all the questions students may have, this happens within the classroom. But even more, within the classroom, teachers can use a set of different tools in order to make the lesson more interesting, in order to increase students' engagement, in order to motivate students more than just speaking about a specific content to be explained and introduced to the students. Flipped classroom, again, as truly individualized learning for students. And there are obviously some advantages of flipping the classroom, because the flipped classroom promotes peer interaction and collaboration skills. It encourages higher student engagement. So once you ask your students to work on a specific subject, to work in groups, to work on autonomous tasks, they will feel more engaged, they will be more motivated. And the idea is that thanks to this kind of methodology, we could decrease the school dropout. Even more, the flipped methodology makes learning central rather than teaching. So the focus is not on the teacher explaining something, on the teacher teaching something, but on the students learning something, thanks to the possibility to work at home on some videos, for example, thanks to the possibility to be more active within the classroom, using the tools of methodologies I explained in the previous slides. Even more, the flipped methodology fosters independent learning and provides increased individualized attention. For all the methodologies that you can use within the classroom, it is evident that there are some pros and there are some cons. There is not a methodology which could be perfect in itself, but we can take advantage from the cons and try to avoid as much as possible the we can take advantage from the pros of a methodology and try to avoid as much as we can the limitations which are offered by a specific methodology. So which are the advantages and the pros of using this kind of methodology? Flipping speaks the language of today's students, because, okay, we are asking them to watch videos, we are asking them to prepare some PowerPoint presentation, so we are engaging themselves on their fields. It is not just the teacher speaking in front of the classroom, it is the teacher challenging the students on their field of action. On some fields of action, sometimes students are even more skilled than their teachers. Flipping helps busy students. Flipping helps students of all abilities to excel, allows students to pause and rewind their teacher, increases student-teacher interaction. So thanks to this methodology, the relationship between the student and the teacher is even better, because, again, they look at the teacher as a mentor and they feel even more confident in having some questions or in discussing about some specific topics. Flipping allows for real differentiation, changes the classroom management, and also makes the class transparent. On the other hand, as well as there are some pros, there are also some limitation and criticism which were moved to this kind of methodology. First of all, for students, there could be a digital divide. Not all families are from the same socioeconomic background, and thus access to computers or video viewing technology outside of the school environment is not possible for all the students. Some students may struggle due to their developing personal responsibilities, so they can have some problems in managing these increased responsibility that they have within the flipped methodology. And finally, the flipped classroom leads to increased computer time in a period where students already spend too much time in front of computer screens, which is even more true and which is dramatically true during this pandemic. But on the other side, we can learn from the last year and a half and rethink the way we teach. And once this situation, this pandemic will be over, we can use what we learned, giving the right role of technology while teaching. Obviously, the flipped methodology can be used together with other methodological approaches. For example, flipped learning plus peer instruction. It consists of sharing with other students a different response to their own and explain the reasons that support the same to learn from each other. Flipped mastery learning, being by organizing content around specific goals. Students work on course content at their own pace, and upon reaching the end of each unit, they must show mastery of learning objectives before moving on the next topic, and so on. Flipped learning plus gamification. It is even more familiar for students if we introduce some elements of gamification. So including gamification elements means, okay, gamification is the application of game mechanism in situations not directly related to games. The basic idea is to identify what motivates a game and see how it can be applied in the teaching learning model. Flipped learning plus cooperative learning. There may also be a symbiosis or complementation between flipped classroom technique and cooperative learning. Schoolwork, which is also known as homework, is done jointly and in cooperation with the group, as the teacher moves the time spent explaining the subject to the flipped classroom method. Thanks to this combined approach, student has to assimilate and understand the content of more theoretical weight at home through the recordings made by the teacher, and the time in class is dedicated to development of tasks and problem solving thanks to the cooperative learning. Finally, flipped learning plus inclusive classroom. The qualities of a flipped classroom that are valuable for typical students can also benefit students with disabilities. So once we have introduced a bit more some key elements of the flipped classroom methodology, let's try to understand how it is possible to flip a classroom, the 6 steps guide to flipping your classroom. First of all, you have to plan. Figure out which lesson in particular you want to flip. Outline the key learning outcomes and the lesson plan. Then record. Instead of teaching this lesson in person, make a video. Make sure it contains all the key elements you would mention in the classroom. Do not make a video just for the sake of making a video, but do the video only if you feel that it can be useful for your students. Third step is sharing. Send the video to your students. You can do and you can record your own video, but you can also take videos made by third parties. But it is important to share, to make it engaging and clear, to explain that the video contents will be fully discussed during the homework, and the homework is done in the classroom. Change, the fourth step. Now that your students have viewed your lesson, they are prepared to actually go more in depth than even before. Group, an effective way to discuss the topic is to separate into groups where students are given a task to perform. For example, a task can be write a poem, a play, make a video, make a PowerPoint presentation. And if I think to myself, when I used to be a student, I would say that it would have been quite impossible for me, for example, to make a PowerPoint presentation. Now students have the skills to do that. So once they have the opportunity to watch a specific video at home, they will be prepared to make a PowerPoint presentation in classroom. This way we can ask them to work independently or to work in groups, and this will develop their teamwork skills. Finally, regroup. Get the class back together to share the individual group's work with everyone. Ask questions, dive deeper than even before. These are the 6 steps to flip your classroom. I will just stop the sharing screen. Or even better, first of all, is there any question from the audience? Was the presentation clear? Do you have some questions? Do you have some doubts? Okay, there are 2 possibilities. I was really excellent in my presentation, or you are too shy to make questions.
Sorry, I have a question. Could you repeat change, the 4th step? Plan, reckon, share, and change. The microphone, Antonio.
You're muted, Antonio. Sorry.
Sorry. Again, yeah, when you share, for example, the video lessons with your students, changes the key point, because it is a changement of perspective. Now they have viewed the lesson and they are prepared to go in depth than even before with the contents which were developed within the video lesson. So changes is changing the perspective of how a lesson should be prepared. It is not the teacher speaking, but it is the teacher providing them with some materials and students working, viewing the materials and getting in touch with the contents which will be discussed during the homework which is done in the classroom. It changes a changement of perspective. Yeah, the word can be misleading, but anyway, it is how the lesson is structured, which is completely different from what we used to do in a traditional classroom. Okay.
Thank you.
So I would like to have a kind of, I know that I already finished my 30 minutes, but I think it would be useful for you to have a practical example of how a flipped classroom works. So now it will be, and my apologies for this, it will be a repetition for the partners because they already viewed the video that I'm going to share, but it will be completely new for the teachers from all over Europe. So let's pretend to be in the classroom. It is difficult for me to say this, but now you are the students and I am the teacher, or I do my best to be the teacher. And the topic we are going to discuss is the way we interact each other and the differences in social relationships between different countries. I'm quite lucky because there are representatives from different countries. So I will introduce a video in which the way Italian people interact each other and gesticulate a lot. In this video, you can have a clear idea of how we Italians interact each other. So there will be the video. So in this false lesson in which I am the teacher, so the topic is social relationship and how Italian people gesticulate. So this is the topic. I didn't choose an heavy, or I didn't choose a topic about philosophy, which would have been quite not simple for me to manage and not simple for you to follow. So I have been choosing a quite interesting and nice and funny topic. So within the flipped classroom, so this is the topic. I make clear which are the instructions. So you are going to watch the video. You are the students. You receive this video. You are going to watch the video at home. And again, it is just a fake lesson. And then we will come back to the classroom because there will be discussion. And during the discussion, we will, me as teacher, I will understand what you understood from the video, if the contents were clear, if there were some problems in understanding the topics of the lesson, and then there will be a kind of lively discussion within the classroom. So I will just try to share the video. Just give me a few seconds. Okay, the video is in English with some subtitles. First of all, can you see my YouTube page?
Yeah.
Good. Thanks, Victor. I recognize Victor's voice because I can't see you anymore. Let me see if it works, because it was working before. But as usual, when there are some presentation, some technical problems. Okay. So it is not working properly. Okay.
Italian is certainly a very expressive language. Ciao mamma, vado a mangiare una pizza con Serena? Sì, prendo la Vespa. A dopo. Ciao. If you've been to Italy or have Italian friends, you may have... Your internet connection is not good.
I know. I don't know why.
Notice that we move our hands a lot when we talk. Well, it's hard not to notice. And you may have thought, are they crazy, moving so much with all that heat? Well, what you may not know is that Italians have their very special hand gesture language to communicate. But what's the reason behind it? Well, if you look at Italy right now, you may think of it as a unified country, but it's not always been the case. This is how Italy looked like before the unification in 1861. A lot of different states and kingdoms with their very own languages and traditions. Hence, the need of a more universal language. It's not all about the ends. Every single facial muscle is involved as well. So when you practice, make sure you check my face and all the movements to make sure you're learning the proper Italian gestures. Andiamo! Let's go! What? Come on! Full of people. What do I care? I really don't give a shit. Look at that asshole. Enough. There's nothing left. So and so. Whatever. To eat. To drink water. To drink wine. Drink espresso. Perfect. Delicious. Well done. I swear. Slowly, slowly. Cut. I'll kill you. Get to the point. You're done. You're crazy. Are you crazy? Absolutely out of your mind. Are you gay? You're cool. He's a smart one. Stubborn. Such a snob. Blah 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 blah. It's very expensive. It got stolen. What would I do to you? I hate you. I can't stand you. Let's get out of here. You get out of here. A long time ago. I'll beat you. Go away, your bad luck. Your wife is cheating on you. Yeah, they're into something. I think they are together. Keep calm, keep quiet. Haha, you got tricked. Having sex. He has a small penis. Take this. You're lucky. Ah, you're scared, huh? Haha, you got tricked again. See you later. Beautiful. Who knows? Let's hope. I am not responsible. It's not my business. If I catch you. Now let's look at some sentences. Hi, I don't speak Italian. I am looking for a restaurant because I'm hungry. I would like some spaghetti and drink some wine. Where can I go? Now, how much is that? Whoa, that's very expensive. Are you crazy? I think you're really pretty. Do you want to be together? Mwah! Those spaghetti were perfect. I was thinking to go to sleep. I don't know. So basically we can have a whole conversation without even moving our mouth. Do you still think we're crazy? So how do we learn all these gestures? Well, certainly not at school. Hand gestures are passed along from generation to generation of Italians, together with dialects, tradition, and an unmeasurable love for pasta. Now it's your turn. Put some Italian gestures into practice next time you talk to some of your friends, family, or colleagues, and see what they think of you. Also, let me know if in your language or dialect you have any special hand gestures that you want to share. don't forget to subscribe.
Okay, so this was a video. So the topic was again quite funny, but in a traditional classroom, I am the teacher, you are the students, and I am supposed to speak about Italian gestures. It would have been quite impossible for me to explain, and in addition, it would have been quite boring for students to listen to me speaking about Italian gestures. It is not a question of the topic we are going to introduce and to discuss with our students. It is the way we organize our lesson. So again, I am the teacher and I am supposed to speak for 1 hour about Italian gestures. So the entire lesson would be spent in introducing these concepts, which are quite unfamiliar for you, for example. In the flipped classroom methodology, I am the teacher. I am providing you with this video, and you are asked to watch the video at home. I've been choosing a video which respects the normal level of attention of students. As I said before, after 8-10 minutes, students tend to lose their attention if they watch a video. And 8-10 minutes is a lot anyway, because now pupils, they don't watch TV, they don't watch soccer matches, they prefer just watching highlights because it is boring for them staying in front of a screen to watch a football match for 90 minutes. So again, I am the teacher and I say, okay, tomorrow we will have a lesson about social relationship in Italy. Have a look to this video this afternoon, and tomorrow we will be discussing about this. The following day, we are in the classroom. So they already have a kind of familiarity with the topic I'm going to discuss, and I'm going to discuss with them, to present and to discuss with them. So the time that I would have spent in explaining something with low attention by the students is now used in order to start a discussion, to start a debate, to start a group work within students, because they already have a kind of familiarity with the topic. And if they have questions, I am here to reply to your questions. This is the idea of the flipped classroom. It is not just the teacher in front of the students speaking for hours. It is the teacher taking advantage from these videos or any other tool which can be useful, providing students with interesting and useful materials. This is another key element, because teachers have to identify those materials, those contents which are considered as useful, which are considered as of good quality for the topic we are going to discuss. So it is the teacher providing students with materials, and the teacher, for example, guiding the discussion within the classroom about the contents students are already familiar with. This is the flipped classroom. So it is just 10 to 3, but if I had more time, we could start this kind of discussion within our classroom about Italian gestures, about what happens in your country and so on. But this video was just meant to provide you with an idea about how the typical lesson is completely flipped in something which is more dynamic, in something which is maybe more motivating for students, in something in which there is a huge responsibility by students in the kind of learning they are going to carry out on their own, and on the other hand, with the support of the teacher. That was the flipped methodology. Again, if you have questions, I will be happy to reply to your question. Otherwise, we will leave the floor to Victor for the second part of this meeting. Thanks, Angelos.
Thank you, Antonio. Victor, I have made you co-host if there is something that you'd like to share. And I wish you a good presentation. You're muted. You are still muted though.
Okay, now you can listen me. Thanks, Antonio, because your work is very close to what we do in this project also. So I would like to start by asking you, but by telling you before, what it's the methodology that we want to explain you. So future classroom methodology of teaching, it's something that takes us to group work. So it's not something that is good or very good for individual work in the classroom, but for group work and projects. The future classroom normally is formed by 6 different learning spaces. Each space highlights specific areas of learning and teaching and helps to rethink different points: physical space, resources, changing roles of student and teacher, and how to support different learning styles. Altogether, the spaces form a unique way to visualize a new holistic view of teaching. The zones reflect what good teaching should be about: being connected, being involved, and being challenged. Education should result in a unique learning experience, engaging as many types of students as possible. So normally what we do, we start here by a driving question. That driving question takes students to investigate, then they create, then they exchange what they were learning, then develop their group work idea, then they interact, and finally they present the final work to the class. Of course, this is a very nice place, but I know that in most of your schools you cannot find this place, a place like this. Anyway, you can ask your director if it is possible to create one place like this, because the place is just the space that is needed, and maybe to paint the spaces where the students can work. You don't need too much technology. It depends on the country and depends on the school. If some schools have more technology, they can use it. If they have less technology, they don't use it. I can tell you that in Portugal, we made the investigation, and 70% of the teachers that go to this place, they just use a PowerPoint presentation and they don't explore too much technology. So it is not, don't be afraid of looking at this and thinking, oh, impossible, in Romania or in Bulgaria, we don't have this. It's impossible because we don't have tablets, we don't have internet connection, we don't have computers. So this is not the problem, the technology. The problem is only the space, and the space is very easy to find. One space for all school, it's enough. If you have questions, just ask me, because in this presentation, you will also work. Please prepare your mobile phones with, if you have internet connection in your mobile phone, because in a few minutes, I will put you working. So, oops, sorry, because I touched here something. So, what are the 21st century skills? Just look down. In communication, sharing thoughts, questions, ideas, and solutions. In collaboration, working together to reach a goal, putting talent, expertise, and smarts to work. in critical thinking, looking at problems in a new way and linking learning across subjects and disciplines. This is not a methodology to use in only one classroom, only one subject. This is a methodology that you can use with different subjects together. It's something like interdisciplinary project. Then creativity, trying new approaches to get things done equals innovation and invention. So this is what we are asking you to think about and maybe to explore. If you have questions, just ask. You can break the presentation, no problem. Okay, before we start today, I would like to organize the working teams. This is what normally we ask the students. I will not put you working in group work because today it's more like explaining the methodology. So I will put you working as only one group. But anyway, I would like to organize this working team so that everything can be ready in time. So this is the first thing you have to do in the classroom. This activity uses a simple educational game called Me Too to help teachers to organize the working groups and to develop an activity that can be used with students for class atmosphere, empathy, and acknowledgement of diversity. So how you can do it in a practical way. So first thing I would like to ask you is to introduce yourself, each one of you to introduce yourself. Tell us something you like to do or something you have. And the others, please put the sound because most of you don't have the sound and I will not listen you. So the question is, you have to introduce yourself and tell something you like or something you like to do or something you have. And the others should say, me too, okay? Maybe I would ask Zoniska to register the names. You organize the groups, but this is just for training. It's not, this is just a training. Okay, who wants to start? Who wants to start? Come on. Okay.
Silis is raising a hand, yeah?
You have no sound. Put the sound.
Vitor,
Yes.
can you see my hand?
Now I see. Perfect.
Okay, I want to start.
Okay.
Okay, I love to play basketball.
Yes. And you are Vasilis from?
From Greece.
And you are a teacher of what?
I'm not a teacher.
You are not a teacher.
Yeah.
Okay. You like to play basketball.
Yeah.
Let me check if somebody says me too. Nobody said me too. Oh, you don't have somebody in your group. Okay, let's wait for somebody else. Who is the next one?
Antonio.
Okay, Antonio.
Okay, I'm Antonio, and I like traveling with my own camper.
You with your own camper.
Me too.
No, me too. So, sorry, you have one person in Antonio group.
Okay, Margarita, right?
Yes, Margarita.
Okay.
Okay. And Antonio is from Italy. So, next person.
Can I be the next one?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Anka from Romania, and I love animals.
Oh, me too.
And me too.
And
Me too.
Oh, sorry, you have a lot of work.
Okay, who was there besides Elsa and Anka? Because I was writing and I wasn't looking at.
You.
Margarita.
Yeah, but there was someone else. Aha, Margarita, okay. Okay.
Next one, please.
My name is Susanna, I'm from Italy. I like going up to the mountains, especially in the summer.
Nobody wants.
Me too. Me
I
too.
would,
Me too.
I would love to
Stop
do
it.
it. I would love to do it, but I don't have the opportunity. So does it count? If I would love to do it, but I'm too far away from the mountains to do it
No, you are not too far away, just 3 hours away.
with the car.
By car, yeah.
Yes.
Or by bus.
I think it's more than 3 hours by bus in Romania.
Okay, 4.
Okay. So another one, please.
Yes, yeah.
I like to swim.
Oh, swimming.
What's your name?
Me too.
What's your
Evdoxia, my name is Evdoxia from Greece.
from Greece? She likes to swim.
Yes.
Me too.
Me too.
Me too.
Me too.
Me too. Me too.
Oh. Okay. So next one.
I love to paint.
Me too.
Me too.
And Mary also. She's
Me
right
too.
here.
Yes.
Okay, painting group. So next one, who is missing to present? Nobody else?
I would like to say something.
Yes.
I'm Steriani from Greece. I love dancing.
Love that. Me too.
Me too.
Me too.
Okay.
And
Very
it's
well. Who is missing? Next one. Everybody? Oh, okay. Maybe everybody. So,
Hello, Victor.
yes.
I think I'm already here. I'm from Portugal. I know Victor, and we are from a school near Sesimbra, and I like sailing. Sailing.
Okay. Somebody else likes sailing?
Me too.
Me too.
Vasilis from Greece.
Yeah.
So,
And Evdoxia.
okay. When you come to Portugal, Eduardo can invite you for sailing.
It's more than sure.
Okay, thank you. Is anybody else missing? No? So, as you can see, this is the idea of starting to organize the groups in a different way. It means that you need to organize the groups. You need to organize the groups with something that they have in common. When the students are, when you go to the classroom and you organize the groups, it's a good idea to organize the groups and try to find that the students can have something in common. If they have something in common, it's more easy for them to understand and to communicate and to work together. Okay? Can I go? Yes? Okay, yeah. I will go. If you have questions, just ask me. So next picture, just look here. I would like to ask you, what are they doing during this meeting? This is a meeting, and what these people is doing during the meeting?
Looking at their phones, not communicating.
So they are in a meeting and they are looking in the telephones and they are not communicating. Are they listening what somebody is talking?
Perhaps not.
Perhaps not. Perhaps not. So
maybe during
Maybe they can do two things at the same time, looking at the phone and listening. We don't.
So as you can see, nowadays, when you have a meeting or when you have a lesson or when you go to a meeting with other teachers, nowadays, this is a new problem. This is a new problem that many times, if they have a computer in front of them, it's even more dangerous because they don't listen what you are telling. I can tell you that I was in a meeting with about 20 teachers. I was not the trainer, but I was listening. And I saw that only 10% of the teachers were listening what the other person was telling, because most of them were occupied like this. And I took this picture from a meeting. So this is a real meeting. Okay? Now, just pay attention because this is a new situation. So the other thing is this picture. Can you tell me what are they doing?
Sorry.
Again,
They are seeing on their smartphone, they are checking the portraits they are supposed to have in front of them.
Very well, Antonio. You know exactly what I want to say. So this is a different, totally different situation. Nowadays, even if you look at this first picture, you can be that the mobile phone is not useful. It's only useful for you, but it's not useful for your work when you are in front of somebody, listening somebody. And this here is a total different situation. The students can get information from the mobile phone and they are visiting a museum. So this is a totally different situation. Nowadays, we can use the mobile phone for useful things or for not useful things. Any question from this? Any doubt? You want to say something?
Do you think that in the second image, they are doing a useful use of their smartphone?
Yes, they were for sure, because it was a museum and they were getting information from the painting.
It may be, or they are, okay, yeah.
Yes, it was.
I would trust this kind of positive perspective. Otherwise, I could say, okay, they are just on WhatsApp talking with other friends and so on, instead of having a look to the portrait. But okay, I will trust you.
Yes, you can trust, because this is just for you to compare how useful and how not useful can be a technical machine nowadays. Okay, let's go on. And what can you see in the different classrooms? Anybody who wants to start, just tell me.
A traditional classroom with no laptop at all. The first image.
Mary wanted to say something. Mary, please.
Okay.
No, don't take out, Antonio. Just don't take out the sound.
You know, I was going to say the same thing. It's a traditional classroom, two traditional classrooms, actually. The one on the top left and the second on the bottom left. There are more traditional classrooms with books and things like that. And on the right, we have more advanced classrooms using technology like tablets or laptops or more technologically advanced.
More opinions, please. Who wants to say something?
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
I think that all the images are from traditional classrooms in a way, because the only thing that is changed is the tool, but everything is so traditional. There is a head guy who knows everything, or a computer or something like this. So I think both images are traditional classrooms with different kind of tools.
Okay, very well. More opinions?
May I?
Yes, please.
Two of the pictures are of smiling children. I don't know what probably there was a reason you chose them or not, I don't know. But two of the pictures are happy children.
Okay. More opinions, please?
That my favorite one is the second one, because there are smiling children. They are using technology, but they don't lose the connection with their teacher, because all of them are looking at the teacher. Okay. Even if in front of them they have some disturbing tools.
Vasilis, what do you want to say?
Okay, there are two classrooms with people in front of the book. In the one, the students are smiling, and the other are quite bored. And also there are two classrooms with laptop and computers. In the first one, we can see smiling faces. In the other one, only of the body language, we can understand that people are bored.
Okay, more any other opinion?
Yeah, there is also a difference in terms of if we can move the furniture or not. Because in the last picture, although they have technology, the desks are quite old and they can't be moved, meaning that students do a lot of sitting, and sitting, you know, they are kind of glued to the same chair, which is not too comfortable.
Very well. Any other opinion? No? Okay, just let me tell you that it was interesting to listen to your opinions, and I just wanted to call your attention for one important thing, is that here, the most important thing is not the machine, but the methodology you use. Because if you use a mobile computer or a tablet exactly as you use a book, you don't change anything. It's so traditional, like using a book. So the most important thing here is, if you look at these pictures, you have to think that because nowadays many teachers even in Portugal, they think that they are very modern because they use tablets and computers. But it's the same if they use in the same way that they use a book. So they are not modern teachers, and they are not 21st century skills teachers. They are exactly like the old teachers, because they don't change anything. So that's what I wanted to say. You need a new methodology if you want. You need a new methodology if you want to follow this century, because the students are also different persons. So in this methodology that I want to show you, I would like to present you some ideas that you can use. And if you wish in September to try this methodology, you can also put it using flipped classroom, because we are more or less linked together. So your classroom work in any subject. In fact, in this methodology, less teacher, best teacher, just means that you just have to work in 10 steps. So you are not somebody that is in front of the classroom, but you are somebody that is in the classroom to help the learning process of the students. So it's something totally different. So firstly thing, define working groups. This is the most important thing at the beginning. Look at the curriculum and find what unit your students need to learn. Because you have to look at the curriculum. It's not something that you just do
outside the curriculum. It's to do inside the curriculum, but together with different subjects is better. Not only one subject, but it should be with different subjects. Then organize a brainstorming to start the motivation of the things you want them to learn. So you can put the students think about what should be interesting for learning. For it, you need to find a driving question. The driving question is the point where you move totally the way you teach. If you go to the classroom, you don't teach anymore. You find a driving question that takes the students to what you think they need to learn. Then give them some links to study and information about books to read in their school library, or even in the pages in their own work, internet pages. But some teachers nowadays, they have the idea that no, we just give them internet, let them to be free and find in the internet what they need. I think that we should give the links. They can also find other things, but internet, it's like a long street where you find good persons, bad persons, good things and bad things. If you don't give the links to study, then they will go to wrong ways, for example, and they learn things that are not correct. So my opinion is not totally free, but it depends on you, depends on what you prefer. Help them when they need during the investigation process. So during this investigation process, they need help sometimes. So in the classroom, you can find these things, or in the school library. Help them when they need, let them exchange ideas with their colleagues and groups. The next step is, okay, we have an idea what we need to learn. Let's share our idea with the other groups. You can put them working and sharing ideas. So until here, you don't see the teacher teaching. The teacher was not teaching anything. So listen their final presentation of the work done. Offer them a formative evaluation and a reflection about the things that they were studying. This formative evaluation, we use nowadays quizzes and Kahoot and other things in the internet that are very useful for the formative evaluation, not for teaching. Some teachers use it for teaching, but I think it's not a good idea. I think quizzes and Kahoot is more for formative evaluation. Then give them new documents or links in case that the students didn't achieve the objectives planned for this part of their curriculum. So if at the end, when they presented the work, if you check in the formative evaluation that they didn't achieve the objectives, you can give new links or you can give new work for them. Here, flipped classroom in the point 10, I think is very, very good, because this is a way to take them to reflect on what they were learning and what they can do to learn more or better. Or you also can decide to teach what is missing in the classroom for the students' learning process. So here also, in some moments, maybe it's important that you teach a little bit, but just a little bit. This is the idea of the teacher in the 21st century. But let me tell you that in education, nothing changes from one day to another. You will need time to do this. So this is changing from the teacher that still uses book and chalk and talk in the classroom to this teacher. It's totally different, this teacher. I cannot ask you to go to in September and do this because it's not easy to do it. But please try it. Try to do it because maybe you are trying to change something in your learning process of your students. I don't know if you have any questions or any doubts you want to ask about this. If you understood what I was saying.
Okay, I have a question.
Please.
How we will motivate our students to learn at home? Because I tried flipped classwork a couple years ago, and I noticed that my students stopped studying at home alone.
Yes, your
So
question
how
is
you motivate them?
Your question is really very, very interesting, but I answer you just with one word. Start by finding a driving question. This is the motivation. If you create a driving question to your students in the classroom, they think, okay, it's my time to work, but not alone, if possible, in small groups, 3 or 4 persons.
Okay, this will be something like a project-based learning with a flipped classwork.
It can be more simple. I will try to go on after and try to explain a little bit better.
Okay.
Okay, more questions? More doubts? Nobody? It's clear. I hope I can motivate you because I would like to see in September something new from you here. That some of these teachers that are here today or those who are going to listen this, that they could in fact improve this and make the change, because it's the teacher, the students nowadays, they are all around them, they have a lot of internet tools, a lot of equipments, tablets, mobile phones, computers, and when the teacher comes to the classroom with talk and chalk, showing just a video in YouTube, they think, oh my God, I had an experience with one student, one class, sorry, I had an experience when the students came out from the class of another teacher that I wanted to talk, that I was training. The students came out from the class and they said, oh my God, another PowerPoint. So it means that in the classroom nowadays, most of the teachers, they just teach using a PowerPoint. It's just the same like using a book, but it's a bit, they think that is more attractive for the students, or using a YouTube video is more attractive for the students. But also some experiences we have that a teacher comes to the classroom and presents a movie during 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, the students think, tell me, oh, I could see it at home. Why I'm seeing it here? And I think, good for flipped classroom, isn't it, Antonio? They can use it, they can see it in the class at home. Why they use it? They use it in the classroom during so long time. The videos to show in the classroom must be, as you said, must be short. They cannot be long. Okay, I'm talking too much. Portuguese and Italian speak a lot.
Victor,
yes.
And because in the picture you show us, I think the most important thing that we need to learn is the motivation of the students, because in all the pictures there are motivation of the students for the lesson that the teacher are taking place. and the motivation can be make for a lot of factors, not only one, not only PowerPoint, but most of the times by a project that that project the students are motivated by that project, I think.
Yes, you're right. And nowadays the students also ask themselves, why I'm learning this? What this is useful for me in my daily life, in the life in the things that I do. And so the good thing is that, okay, that let me put them thinking that what they are learning can be useful for them. This is also important. Okay, this discussion in presential way should be longer, but here we have to make it a bit shorter. If you have any questions, just do it. Be free. Okay. So I showed this picture already. So there is a lot of different activities that can serve to promote creativity and critical thinking skills. We can discuss about intercultural friendship, intergenerational. We can observing a picture. It can be the brainstorming for the students work for any subject. So there is a lot of things that can serve as a driving question. Of course, in the last, some of you were not here. I'm not sure that I have too much time, but I can follow a bit faster. In the last lesson, I also presented you some ideas that can be useful for the driving question. For example, I'm not sure that you are observing this now, but I will show you. I will show it to you in a second. If you look, a lot of questions like this can be useful for a driving question. For example, I will just follow it very fast because some of you already know it. How would life be different if there were no electricity? Listen 3 different ways. And then the students could start learning by this. So the teacher is not teaching anything. Explain a flower to someone who was never seen or heard of one before. Write a story about the zoo without using the names of any animals. Pretend to get to you that you get to make one rule that everyone in the world must follow. What rule do you make? Why? What kind of soup would you eat for dessert? Write a recipe for dessert soup. Which do you think is more important, motorized vehicles like cars and airplanes or computers? Why? If you could choose one thing that costs money and make it free for everyone forever, what thing would you choose? Why? If you could live in a tree house, would you? What are 3 advantages and 3 disadvantages to living in a tree house? The students like very much this driving question to develop a lot of things connect with science, with mother language, with English, and so on. Or even with mathematics, they can use it. If you could live in a, if people could not see colors, how would traffic lights work? Design a traffic system that does not rely on colors. This is very good for drawing lessons. Pretend that parents, this is one of the I like best. Pretend that parents have to take a test before they can have children. Write 6 questions that would be on the parenting tests. So they write 6 questions and they take these to their parents to answer. And then they bring the answers of the parents. It's very funny and they can learn a lot by this driving question. If you could invent a new subject that would be taught to all children in school, well, what would be the subject? Why do you think children need to learn about your subject? For example, if you could talk to trees, what do you think they might say? Create a conversation between you and the tree, for example. And are you more like a river, a lake, or an ocean, or a waterfall? Why? So you have here a lot of ideas that could be in a certain way that I think that they could be interesting for the learning process. Don't know if you want to say something. Is okay? You are understanding the idea? Yes? Okay, so let's go. Let's go. I like to put you working. Think about something.
Vitor, I'm sorry. Can I interrupt you? There is a question from a Greek teacher.
Ah, okay, please do it.
About this, she asked if these questions are for all the ages of students.
You have to look and see what is better for younger, what is better for older. So, and you can also find your driving questions. This is just an idea, no? It's only an idea. But if you want, you can just put a picture as a driving question. Like as you see on the right, you can just put a picture, and from the picture, they can develop a learning process. You put the picture and you give them the links or the pages in the books or the books in the school library to learn. So you don't teach anymore. What I want to tell you is the difference is that you don't teach anymore. You just give ideas to learn. The picture can be a good idea to learn. You look at the picture and you give them, the important thing is that you give something else, not only the picture, but for example, links in the internet or pages in the book to learn. Because the students will be, in a certain way, they will be the teachers. When they finish the work, they come to the classroom and they teach that subject, not you. It's the student that is the teacher, and it makes a big difference. Any other questions? No? Can I go? Okay. Let's put you working. Think about something interesting to work with your students in the classroom, connected with the curriculum, but transversal to other subjects will be better. Make the question engaging. The best questions are easily understood and interesting. They ignite curiosity, making students eager to explore answers. I give you 5 minutes to write in a paper a question. Okay? Think about it. We make a small 5 minutes break, and in 5 minutes, I will ask you to write an answer about this. Okay? 5 minutes break. 5 minutes break.
Okay, thank you, Vitor.
I will appear in 5 minutes. Okay. So please, with your mobile phone or with your computer as you wish, go to Mentimeter, www.menti.com, and write this code. And you can write your answer, your driving idea. So it's Mentimeter. It's a tool, very easy. You can use your mobile phone or your computer as you wish, and just write your driving question, shorter as possible. It's just to train. To write, you have to press down on the plus on the right when you enter. Yes, yes, it's appearing. I can see it. Very good. Very good. Teachers are very creative people. Excellent. Let's wait a bit more 2 minutes to write, to wait for the others. Is somebody missing? They took the sound and I don't see if they are missing or not.
This Menti is very nice application. I didn't know that. It's like you just post-it notes on a board. It's very nice. It's really great.
It is. Yeah. It's very good for this learning process.
Yes.
And you can see immediately what they are writing. I see. We have already 10. Is somebody missing from people who has no sound here? I don't see if I can close this or not.
I'm arriving, just a few seconds.
Okay, I wait. Excellent questions. And excellent driving questions. Is somebody else missing? No? Okay. It's just let me tell you that this is a very good way to organize the group work in the classroom. In your classroom, you can get very easily a lot of different driving questions, and you can use different driving questions for each group. If I had time in this meeting to organize you in groups, now I would like to ask you, for example, group 1 to work, why don't fall off the hearse? Group 2, who am I? Group 3, if bees were to disappear in a month. So a lot of things here, very easy in the classroom that we can use to develop the work. Also, if it is a bigger project, a bigger idea to use in the future classroom presentation, I would like, for example, to choose only one for the develop, or one or 2 or 3, but I also could choose one that could be could connect all the curriculum that they need to learn. Or if all belong to the curriculum, so I could use all. So it depends, but the idea is the methodology that I was using. Until now, my dear colleagues, I didn't teach you anything. Nothing. You are just preparing to learn. Any questions? You have any questions? Anything you want to ask me? Did you like this idea? Yes? Everybody took out the sound, and I don't know
Very
what.
much so.
Anyway, no problem. It's okay. This is the idea. This is the idea of the teacher in this century. Is not the traditional teacher. That's what I wanted to say. I already gave you an idea, an example of a project that I worked with my students. I think we don't have too much time with my students. I used saving water, protecting life, and they developed the learning process based on this driving question. And they developed very interesting things in different subjects. And at the end of this idea, at the end of the school year, they presented a theater show for all the school. So, but they were learning based on this idea. I didn't teach them anything. Okay, so this was the driving question that you were doing now, and it will be what it was what we were doing. Nowadays, to use in the future classroom, to use in the classroom with your students, of course, you have a lot of different tools also. Some of you, if you are interested in learning the new tools, most of them in the internet, just fix the name Class Tools. In Class Tools, you can find a lot of different things that you can use. I could try to give you an example, but the time is too short. We are already almost finishing. But for example, the SNS generator, for example, I use when we visit some place with the students. When I go to a museum or to a travel visit or something, and if I go there, when I visit this STM generation, it creates, all these are from Class Tools. You can find in Class Tools. And if you go one day there, I'm not sure that I can show it to you now because the time is running too fast. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Maybe I can do it. I would like to show, but the time is really very short for everything. Give me just 1 second. Give me just 1 second. Maybe I can find it for you because it's something that could be interesting. Wait a minute. If you want to make me any question in between, just ask. Because I'm just trying to open something.
Okay, I have a question. How this make them to seek for more? How this this will work for 1 or 2 or 3 lessons, but we have to cover the whole curriculum?
No, you don't have to cover the whole curriculum.
Just for few lessons?
Sorry?
We will use it just for a few lessons, or
you can mix, because normally your methodology is boring if you teach always the same way. So the idea is that you mix your learning process. Don't just teach always the same way.
Okay.
Because if you teach always the same way, it's very boring. So the idea is this is a methodology that you can use. Is a methodology that you can use in different ways. Sometimes, for example, you can give a small video. Sometimes you can when I say less teacher, best teacher, I don't say not teacher. I say less teacher. It means that sometimes you need to appear, but slowly we need to take out the teacher from the teaching process, but not all now. It's transfer. It takes time. It's not easy to do. It's not like in flipping classroom that Antonio was teaching. It's the same. He didn't want to say let's change totally the way we teach, but let's change slowly with time. We need time to learn also. Yeah. For example, do you see now my dustbin? For example, yes, my dustbin. It's interesting. For example. If I look here, I will ask you, for example, if you have to put it in plastic, this is a tool that you can find in class tools. Plastic, glass, bio, or paper. So please tell me, the rest of the salad, where do I put it?
Bio.
Sorry?
Bio.
Bio. Opa, very well. It's too loud. Empty bottle of water.
Plastic.
Glass.
Plastic. Okay. Empty bottle of wine.
Glass.
Glass. French fries packing.
Bio.
Bio. No.
No. Packing.
Paper.
Paper. No.
No.
Plastic.
Plastic. The leftover of the fruit salad.
Bio.
Plastic.
Bio.
Bio. Exercise book with bad results.
Paper.
Everywhere.
Where?
Paper.
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 Broken cup of water.
Glass.
Glass.
If it's broken.
My box of new TV.
Paper.
The box of my new paper. Okay. Now the student should put the name, and this is the way I did this for my students based on class tools, as you can see. So it was a very easy way but this is not for teaching. This is not for teaching. Class tools is for formative learning process, okay? It's a way that you explore if your students could learn or could not learn what you are teaching. I could show you much more, but the time is ending. It's almost ending. So the last moment is for 5 minutes for reflection. So just tell me if you have some doubts, if you are motivated to try it in September, what do you want? What is your colleague saying?
Sorry?
Your colleague is saying something.
Me?
The lady is saying something. Your colleague.
I just wanted to say that discussing with my wife, we said that the future classroom is super great tool, but the problem is always the space.
Yeah. The
Especially,
space. Yeah, the space, it's important, in fact, but the methodology you can use in a small classroom. So the methodology is like this, as I was telling, and you don't need a big space for it. The future classroom is the next step. After you start using the methodology, the space, it's important, but it's not
the main
object. Yeah,
okay.
Okay.
Any more doubts? Any more questions?
Can I ask something? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Lina. Tell me. Oh, we lost your connection. Your connection.
Victor, I have a question.
Yes.
Where you tested the method, was the space like one area, or was it in different, for example, parts of the school?
Ah, good. No, most of the work was done in my classroom, in a normal classroom, most of the work. But to work in groups, to put the students to work in small groups, you have two chances. Or you put them working in the classroom, but normally the space is small and it is a bit loud, the students talking together. That's why the future classroom is better. The other possibility is, as Antonio said, is in the flipped class. Flipped is more or less completing the idea. You can put the students work at home in groups and bring the results to the classroom. But you can, to start this methodology, you can teach the students that they need to speak not loud. If you have a small classroom, you put them working in groups of 3 or 4, but they cannot talk too loud. When you come to Portugal, I will take you to one school where they already use this methodology, and you can see it in reality. But the idea is that in a small space, they can also use this methodology. Only the students must know that they cannot be talking too loud. Otherwise, you will feel like in a marketplace. Yes?
Sure. Yeah. But it would be interesting and motivating probably if a small group can go to the library and have their session there. Other group can go to the next cabinet if it's free.
Or they can go outside to near a tree and sit near a tree and talking there and working there with a small tablet or something. The idea is giving them freedom to choose and to feel comfortable where they are. So, and the teacher is just somebody that is there to help them to develop their work, not to teach.
So it's ownership of the result of the learning process. It goes to the students, and the teacher needs to check that what the students have learned and developed in their project matches the reality that needs to be taught, but is not taught.
And another thing is that who teaches is the student in the classroom. The groups of students come to the classroom and they teach the other students what they were learning. Me as a teacher, I just use a formative tool. It doesn't give me too much work to make quizzes or a Kahoot, and the students are evaluated in a formative way using that tool. So, or Socrative, in Portugal, the teachers use Socrative. In Portugal, the teachers also use Socrative. So it's what I wanted to say. It's very, very good to try it.
Yeah, and maybe if you separate students in groups, then in each group there should again be certain roles. And if each person knows their role, they might again be a bit more motivated to deliver what is expected of them. In case during the next session, when this methodology is applied, they take another role and they test how the process looks from another perspective. But the leader who performs and whose group makes progress with the project will probably be someone who will be motivated to follow this way of learning in the future. And be responsible for the work they do at home. There was a question from Lina. She wrote it in the chat because she said the internet is weak and she wanted to ask how we are going to work in the future. Thank you very much. We are even beyond the time, but maybe we answer this question and we let everyone relax and take their free time. Our idea was to work with several consecutive lessons that are delivered in one instrument or another within this project and tested with the students. So considering that we have, for example, a very big group here with the flipped future or flip the future, the experts, if they have to do the entire thing on their own, for example, work with the content provided by the teachers, the summer might not be enough. So what could be a solution is that the teachers provide the consecutive lessons they would like to test with their students. Oops. I am the one who froze this time.
But we are listening you, just not the...
Yeah, we can hear you talking.
Not she
disappeared.
Freeze.
She disappeared.
Yes.
No, she's here, but like a picture.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea that she was suggesting that now after
She's back. She's back.
Sorry, but yeah, I froze this time. Well, I stopped at the point of saying that we would like to ask the teachers to prepare the lesson plans for those consecutive lessons in their subject they would like to test in the autumn at some point. And the team will do our best to provide as much guidance on those lesson plans as where can what be done in order for the instrument to be tested in the classroom, as detailed as possible. And if there is any work that could remain undone, this can again be a process of discussion between the expert leading the specific instrument and the teacher who wants to test the instrument in the classroom. having the most effort coming from the experts in the project and not the teachers. The effort of the teachers quite sufficiently will be the fact that this will be tested in a classroom with students that don't know what is coming towards them.
So the idea is that they prepare a lesson to give to the students at the end of September or at the beginning of October. Just give a lesson and tell us if it was okay, if it ran well or not, what were the problems that they could find, yeah?
Yeah, but the first step would be...
Sorry, not just one lesson. The idea is to try more, a number of lessons, a unit, a whole, I don't know, one lesson. It's very easily tested, and I'm sure, especially about the flipped classroom, I heard very successful stories trying one lesson.
Yeah.
But I think if we can inspire people to teachers to work with more than one lesson, 5 lessons, let's say, just one unit.
Yeah.
One driving question is not good for only one lesson, for sure. They have to explore it. They need more time.
Yeah, but Margarita's question about losing interest is also really relevant. So it shouldn't be too much. It should be what you, as the professionals working with the children, consider that will work. If it's 3 consecutive lessons, then let's keep it that way. It's your decision how much material you want to test with the students in autumn. And just please remember to provide us with that content so that we can work with it during the summer months, okay? And be in touch with you and provide feedback and everything.
Should you give some paper where they could write it, or they just write in a Word page and that's okay?
It's okay. It's the way they develop a lesson plan and present, for example, a lesson plan to each other and use in the schools.
I think it's good.
It could be a different approach in the different countries. So using one template might not be good for everybody.
True.
Excuse me, could you send us all the information? Because from Italy, I am the only one teacher now, so just to let the others know. And another question, should we prepare everything in the summer? Because now we are on holiday, end of the month we finish, so we should work during summer and prepare the plan for these 7 lessons. Or is it enough if we present it in September or October?
The earlier, the better, so that the experts can start working on the material.
The topic, and you work on it.
Yeah.
And it very much depends actually on this particular unit. If you're going to test it in, I don't know, in January, maybe it will be okay if you don't present it in summer, but probably if you start in September, it will be you will be very busy with teaching, and I don't know whether you will have time for preparing, but I don't know, it's up to you.
I have an idea.
Possible.
I have an idea. Maybe it would be good if all of you could send us your ideas of planning until we meet in Portugal in the 2nd week of September. If we have all your plans until the 2nd week of September, maybe also here in Portugal, we could look at it and discuss it.
Yeah, but that means that the summer would be a time not used properly by the team, and you should use us. I mean, you should make use of us during the summer months. So those who can be ready earlier, before that, please send your materials so that the team can start working on something. And those that will be a bit late, please consider if you will be delivering in September, then you should plan the testing to be of material happening in November, for example, so that the experts have time. But then this project is 18 months only, so we have until April next year. We shouldn't prolong too much our periods of working on tasks. And yes, everything will be sent to all the team members in the group. And I would like to ask Antonio and Vitor to send me their presentations now after we finish, and I will be the one sending the information to everyone else and to the group. Okay. It was a lovely meeting. Thank you for the attention. Thank you for all the questions. If there are any questions left unanswered, you can send them to the team via email or call your national coordinator, and we will clarify everything.
Thank you very much, Vitor,
See
Antonio,
you.
and Zori. It was great. It was a great afternoon. Before the 3 days day off in Greece, because except of the weekend, we have day off on Monday. So it is good for us to close the week like this.
Great closure. Yeah. Thank you all. You were lovely.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice
Bye-bye.
day. Bye.
Bye.